Let's go. So, hi, my name is Veronica. I am a founder of NGO Tango Skills. We're working with education, with promoting educators' pathway in youth circles. We're working in Ukraine with covering educational gaps caused by war, by whatever. So I really love education, as you may understand from the statement. And also, I am a student in UWC already for a second year. I'm currently going to finish this in several months, and I have experienced a lot of people coming to me talking about their educational systems, especially when I'm initiating those conversations. And what I've noticed is that educational inequality is so deep inside of us, and we're not always even noticing what it is. And one of my other interpretations of those conversations is actually that people from countries where education is considered bad, not prestigious, sometimes are working more hours, learning more material, comparing to more promoted, like chill systems where people are experiencing individual pathways. And so what is really, really promoted in educational like forums, conferences, etc. And as a person who is going to next year join learning sciences and education and social policy major in the university, I would like to dive into this topic together with you. I really want to know your opinions, your experiences, because also we're here with people not only from different countries, but for sure with different educational backgrounds. For example, even in my case, throughout my one life, I was in really, really different, like online, formal, not formal things. And honestly, civil society and non-formal education also became for me a huge social lift, really helped me to grow, to change, etc. So we are going to discuss both like formal, not formal, blah, 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 blah. And now I want to know about you in the group chat. I would like you to write your name, where you're from, and maybe your experiences with the inequality of education. Why are you interested in this? Have you experienced any treatment where you're treated better than others, or others were like treated better than you? Whatever. Critical thinking is really important here, and we're going to actually explore it in a second. But now I actually need your involvement and your energy to do so. So you have several minutes to write in the group chat.
Please say once again what people should write so that they don't miss.
Okay, your name, where you're from. You can write country, city, several countries, several cities, whatever. And what is your connection to the topic? Yeah, inequality in education. What are you thinking about it right now? Or have you experienced it? Or I guess everyone does, but how did you, anything that you're comfortable sharing in several sentences? So it's not that long answer. Mhm. Yeah. And also, while you're writing, I'm really, really happy to be here, to be invited as a lecturer. Here you can also meet people both from main program of Rewrite the Site, which is a program where people are exploring different social topics and meeting each other. So, thank you for inviting me as a lecturer. And also, there are a lot of other people who are just coming for this lecture. So, be open to explore each other and maybe keep contact if it's possible. Okay, good. So we have our first answer. It's from Ruslan from Kremenchuk, Ukraine, and he faced inequality in schools in cities is better than in villages. Here, so we have Maria from Ukraine also. I noticed some teachers might give higher grades to boys just because they're boys, or having more expectation than girls. There is also Anya, which is also from Ukraine. And when you have some similar activities in something, somewhat similar abilities in something, but because of different financial situations, we can have different resources. We have Alfred from Estonia. I wouldn't say this was happening to me, but I would assume some teachers may prefer asking or discussing things during class with students who have better grades in classes. Yeah. Then with subpart grade, there is also I guess Rasuli from Afghanistan. Yeah, and also sharing from experience of being an Afghan girl. Unfortunately, in Afghanistan, we girls are facing this challenge being deprived or basic right, the right to decay. I agree with the Fred quite. Okay, so quite a lot of experiences. Okay, we have also Anna from Ukraine, mostly gender inequality, but also financial one. Blame corruption. Okay, good. So I guess we are going to explore all those factors. Yeah, for sure. We're naming the expectations of the teachers. We are naming gender. We are naming financial situations. Also, there is Daniela from Peru and Chile. Chile educational inequalities were evident in university entrances because all the top 100 schools with the highest scores are private. Good. Okay, let's go here. And now my experiment that we are going to have together with you would sound like this. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. No, don't close your eyes. When I'll say, when I'm going to say to close your eyes, uh, you would need to open them after a minute. And you know that all of us are super different. We have super different understanding what time is. And a minute for one would be two for other by the feeling. So when I'm going to put a timer, so you're going to close your eyes, wait for a minute on your opinion, open your eyes and look for the amount of time you spent with the closed eyes. What I'm going to ask you to do right now is to make an estimate. How much time would you actually like be with closed eyes? It can be minute exactly, it can be shorter, it can be longer, whatever is going to be your guess about yourself, about your understanding of time. Just a random number of seconds that you're going to spend with this. Guys, I'm waiting for the numbers that you're thinking you're going to be. Let's go. 40 seconds, 45. Okay, let's go. 50, 40, 40. Good, 45. Okay, then let's go and do our small experiment. Huh? I'm going to put a timer. Oh my God. Going to put a timer here. Will be for like 3 minutes. You will see the countdown. You would not see, but like when you're going to. Okay. With most of you are like around 40, 45. Good. So let's do our experiment. And on one, two, three, close your eyes. Okay, whoever didn't close the eyes, you can open them now. And if you saw my timer, I hope to have seen. Uh, was timer on the screen? Yeah, okay, good.
Yes, yes.
So you can see how your expectations of what you're expecting from yourself and the actual time that you spend with closed eyes is so different. And when we are talking about education and diversity, we know that people are different. For sure, we know. But sometimes it takes too much time to figure out who people are actually, what are their needs, and especially which accommodations they need. So this is the first problem, the first root understanding why educational inequality or lack of equity is there, because we are so much reliant on people themselves reporting what they need, or at least what are their inner abilities, inner understanding of something. So next time, um, also this is an experiment that shows your understanding of time, like how you feel the time. So in general, in your life, you can use, because the shorter for your time feels, the shorter, like, yeah, it is in the more long distance in days, not only. So when we are talking about other root concepts to the education, to the inequality in education. And also, inequality is a term that is describing both the lack of equality and the lack of equity, because inequity somehow is not in the English language at this point. So just to clear those definitions there, the equity is when we are talking about mostly equality of result, accommodating the needs, and social justice. And when we are talking about equality, we are mostly talking about the same in the opportunity, the same. Also, we can say in outcome in that understanding, but equity is more about justice, and equality is about resource, about their. So when we are thinking about the achievements that we have, do we actually think that we deserve them? Do we think that our hard work is always something that is a root cause of our achievement? And I'm asking it because, like, most of us know that in some way or another, we are privileged here or we are disadvantaged there. But when we are actually thinking about our achievement, most likely we're just happy for ourselves, which is like, it's okay. It's a natural thing that we are internalizing our achievement, and this is thing for the self-esteem to be more or less okay. But as an AB student, I talk a lot about definitions, so I want also to a little bit transfer my definition trauma to you and talk about meritocracy, because meritocracy, if we're talking about like formal definition, is the concept that everyone has what they deserve by their ability. And a lot of educational systems, a lot of competitions connected to the education are based on this concept. The more you know, the more talented you are, whatever, the more you achieve, the more, the better your grade is, the better university you have. Um, we're talking about this concept of not being connected to money or social position. But my favorite dictionary in this life is the Urban Dictionary also. And it provides a little bit other definition of meritocracy as something where people who believe that they deserve, they rule. People who believe that they have merit. And this is one of the key elements and key problems of meritocracy, because often we see that in all those programs, in all those things, at the end of the day, people with more initial chances are coming. Even if we're seeing like quotas, diversity policies, some like adjustments, whatever, but there is always a factor which we're not counting for. And this is like also spinning back to our case study about time. Yeah, we not always know what are the needs of the person, and what is reported is frequently not accurate in the statistics. So we're talking about also meritocracy as a concept that is making people feel good about themselves, not knowing what they can do about, like, they're most likely to not even understand like what is the problem with their merit. And this is something we can always be aware of and spread information about. For sure, meritocracy is like better than, for example, systems where everything is only based on, for example, income, or how in old times, yeah, people were practically stuck in their social positions. Now, nowadays world with this concept, it's a little bit better because it allows for like those social needs. But are they that frequent? It's also a question that we can ask ourselves. And here it's that really, really common understanding of the inequality of education, when we are talking about degrees, when we are talking about unemployment, when we are talking about cycles of poverty. So when someone is not able to receive a good education because of their wealth, because of their income or their parents, then they have less chances to gain this good position in terms of income, and cycle repeats with like their children and their generations. However, uh, education is much more deep and diverse than this as a concept, because at least we in like some academic circles, which are also not the best measurements and not the best research about inequality or equality, because academia is highly privileged usually, but we will not mention it now. We just rely on this data. So there are three main parts of the learning. And here we could see the statistics mostly about like formal education, about university degrees, about our schools, and practically, fortunately or unfortunately, formal education is the easiest to change and the biggest in terms of effect, the scale of effect. Because when we are implementing a policy, it impacts all the country or specific group that the government is targeting, or formal education is something that we are focused the most on in research. So we are talking here about diplomas, degrees. Formal education is the most recognized form of education. So it's also really influential on our systems and our meritocracy, what we're talking. It takes the most time usually also. Then the when we're jumping to informal education, this is one which inequality is the most in, but unfortunately it is one which is the hardest to influence in one way or another. Because here we're talking about the exposure from really, really early age to some norms, to some experiential learning from opportunities. For example, okay, go practical. You have a really wealthy family which runs the business. What is the possibility you're going to get an internship in this business? Hi. What experience you're going to have compared to people who would actually have less opportunities to gain this? You are going to have this informal learning, which happens situationally and is never intentional. Therefore, here we are also talking about early development stages. We are talking about children, about their understanding what are they deserving, and are they able to even speak up. Um, and this informal understanding in long term transfers to formal education when children are going to school and they were in the early childhood asked to shut up and not to ask questions, then they're coming, and are they going to ask questions in the formal education? Less likely. And it transferred on also non-formal education, which is our also NGOs connected, so skills connected, outside of formal system learning, but more organized. So non-formal is organized compared to informal. But all those informal experiences are coming to our learning activities, to our workshops, to whatever we are doing right now with you. And here we're also talking about like something practical and something which can be really influential and something that is the easiest to maybe enter in younger age in your will. But here it's also the question, are you able to be confident enough to enter? Which is, are you able to come into informational bubble of opportunities? Because what we often see even on those non-formal activities, in one way or another, it's about the same people, the same faces, and group of people who, yes, they are, because of their own will, receiving more information, but this ability, this understanding that I need this, is also not coming from like other world. It's coming from our practical experience before. And I tried to create a diagram, you know, how all those researchers are doing their own models or something really smart. I'm not the most smart person, but again, models are accessible to everyone, I hope. Okay, so first level, which we see as this is a diagram of roots of inequality in education. First, we see the family capital, and here we're not only talking about wealth or income, but also really important assets as time, which not also all families do have to work with their children. And also, if you're having your own family, if you're trying to educate yourself as an adult, you have work to do, and you are lacking already this time, or you're lacking this time to educate others. So here in this level, also, it's one of the key. When we're talking about disability, we can see it on different levels. One of them is family. When we're talking about, are they able to provide you accessibility? If not, then we are going to more outside circles. Are your educational systems or government or stereotypes are enabling you to perceive this and this? So when we're talking like about some social groups, about people with disabilities, when we're talking about gender, it's really layered in terms of where inequality is coming from. Either it's like from the school system, from society, from family. Usually it's a sum of all of that. And that's why it's so hard to tackle, because individually we know how to tackle that issue, but the key understanding how to tackle inequality comes from its intersectionality, from its understanding that it's not really one issue, it's a sum of different issues. Then we are talking about like language exposure, because a lot of us are born to one language, but some of us are raised to be bilingual, raised to go to language classes. And here we are also talking about the curse of middle class, as it's really commonly referred in university admission, because we can see this gap between really, really disadvantaged people who, like, it's going to sound bad, but if they're taken into really good formal educational systems, they would increase the reputation of this system, and they're going to be a good advertisement. So they have this sometimes opportunities, not that much, but still there is a huge movement to give really, really disadvantaged communities the opportunity to go to learn in both formal and non-formal education. Um, Especially considering the fact that it's the easiest one to negotiate with some donors or whatever. And there is another group that is fully capable to give themselves and even maybe to donate to like other groups or whatever. The problem comes also in the middle where like you understand that those people are not going to be the biggest advertisement in your social media. But also those people are not that much uh, capable or that much privileged. So we can see also like is random news. I don't know. Did you see in social media? But okay, I saw Instagram reel about like Ivy League schools are now saying like if your income is this and this, we're going to provide free education for you, which sounds good. Again, advertisement is everything in this world. But what it actually means is that they're reducing the percentage covered for all other groups which are out of this bracket. And something that sounds really nice practically is reduced budget on education. Then we are talking about expectations, and expectations are coming both like from family, from the society, from school teachers. There is a huge stereotype or like I don't know misinformation about the fact that people who are expected to be good are going to actually perform better, which is partially true, partially not. And because in terms of expectations, both of them like absolutes of the scale, either like really bad expectations, you're not going to deserve anything, is bad. It's going to influence you in the bad way. But also understanding that you are obliged to perform good. You need to be there, both like from society, from teachers, from parents, from whatever, is also usually a key for failure for a lot of people. And we can see in a lot of disadvantaged families, it's being the case that I did not have this opportunity, so you are obliged to perform good. In the long term, usually it ends up in a really bad situation in terms of like burning out through education and also not releasing your full potential. So, especially when it comes to like internally in the families, it's better to have something in between. Well, then we are talking about expectations on like school system level when there is so-called Pygmalion effect, when teachers are treating better, as you were mentioning before in the group chat, the students that are more active. And this is natural because, like, you love attention as a teacher. Teachers are coming to this job because they love attention, which is natural. They're becoming speakers, they're becoming people whom you're listening to. So if you listen to them, more likely that in long term you're going to build a better relationship and they're going to increase chances for you to develop. But other side of this also is coming for students who have really really low performance. Also they're receiving usually more attention, and this can be like two-sided because they can fully give up on you, which is going to be bad, or also with like the lowest expectation, there is a chance that someone will work the most with you. So it depends. Again, people who are coming into the middle are the least gain the attention, the least connected to this attention. Um, when we are also talking about educational systems, school systems, and government policy, here it comes the question about money. And money is an interesting thing in government because it's never enough. Like, there is no country which is like, we have too much money. We can give everything for education. Like, there is a country which created education as their soft power strategy. Soft power is something like to influence you and your decisions through something which is not coercion, not violence, whatever. But even this country is cutting now a lot of funds, like it's US, and if you track their budget for education, it's more than all other countries together taken, like by investment in like educational programs. But it's also not from that much love to education. It's from like understanding of importance of immigration, whatever. Uh, Complicated understanding of budgets is coming to you all, and I think you also in your life experienced, for example, a difference between funding rural areas and urban areas. Is again not because everyone hates rural areas. It's because in the rural areas we can see that funding per one student is usually more, uh, because of natural reasons, because of, okay, basically like teacher who is teaching for less students is going to be more costly for the government than the teacher that is teaching like 30, 60, 100. So we are talking about this difference between also equality and equity, that sometimes we need to boost some areas, to boost some understanding. Here in schooling systems, also, it really depends on how do you traffic the progress of the students, and is this tracking really connected to your needs and to your achievements. On the government policy, there is also a lot of connection to conflict, war, politics, because education, as it's really known, is connected to propaganda, and it's a huge political tool in terms of oppression. So when we are talking, maybe when we're going to have more discussions, Narges is going to be able to explain to us more her understanding feelings, but like here we can also see that ban on education for girls in Afghanistan. We're talking, it's highly a thing that is not connected to any will to make something better. It's connected to oppression, and not all problems in education are unintentional. Some of them are highly intentional, especially on government policy levels. But a lot of things are also unintentional when we're talking about society, mostly culture. And we are also so much focused as like humanity on growth on average. We're seeing that literacy grows on average, classes are measured in average, but also this average can stagnate, and this average never is in one student specifically. And here also there are gender norms. Yeah, who deserves to go where? Are you able to be confident enough to apply somewhere? Um, are you going to be selected somewhere? Because a lot of education based in meritocracy, again, coming back to last slide. I hope my small diagram was interesting for you. I'm going to send you slides afterwards, so don't worry, you can look through it more. And this diagram actually reminds me a lot about the concept of intersectionality and understanding that our disadvantages are coming from the diverse factors. Uh, and also, there is a lot of information about connection of different factors, for example, like gender, rural location, disability, to the levels of education. And I would like, if you want more academic approach, like research papers or UNESCO basically report, you can do it. You can scan those QR codes and discover it more in depth. Also, intersectionality. there are a lot of papers which are talking about it and a lot of theories. So feel free to reach out for more information. Now we're going to have one activity for which I'm going to send you into the breakout room. So again, if you're drinking your tea in the kitchen, please come to the screen. And there are going to be 4 groups, which are going to work on 4 case studies. Each group is going to be assigned 1 case study. And I have a set of questions which you're going to try to research and then answer. Your presentations need to be around like several minutes. So short summary, what happened, what was implemented. I try to give the most like stereotypical research understanding of case studies for inequality of education. For example, like Finland was always so much presented in all those like that's how you need to do, that's how you need to decentralize. That's what is good education is all about. But then you see also the decline of the system and the reasons, and you're like, yeah, we all need to follow this example. Amazing, thank you. Um, then we're seeing that sometimes really, really practical approach, as we can see in Brazil. Yeah, that there are not that much of the wealthy families. There is a huge inequality, and there are payments for supporting low-income families, which are not working, which are like low-income families, stay low-income families for generations. What are we doing as a government? We are introducing conditional transfer payments, which is basically if your children is going to the school and not to work, then we are paying you. If not, sorry. Uh, so this is a type of policy
خب
which was also
در مورد مکتب
implemented.
فردوسی
Uh,
من همه معلومات خودم رو به شما میگم. مکتب فردوسی حالا نامش فورورد گلوبال سکول است و من اونجا به طور حضوری میخوانم. مکتب حضوریش در کویت هست و اینجا 4 شعبه داره. خب یک
I guess I will mute
بورسیر
if it's
مکتب
possible.
فردوسی
I'm not sure, like, if there was a translation or whatever, like, you can stop me and say that I muted wrong, but like, okay. And then we are talking about here it's a case of Tajikistan's change in um, policies to disabilities, and basically it's a case study that is also connected to a lot of post-Soviet countries and how they deal the inclusion in their formal education, because in Soviet Union there was no disability, as you could know. It just was hidden, but they were saying that there is no. So post-Soviet countries are frequently facing this challenge of implementing policies. And then we are talking about Rwanda, and we are talking about post-conflict building of education. Yeah, when we are having internal problems, genocide in 90s, which was highly known in the world, and but you need to build education afterwards. Like, what are you doing? What are the challenges? Which reforms are you implementing? How do you not only judge but also reconcile and judge? Because sometimes judgment is also needed. How do you change those societal expectations? So now I'm going to um, stop sharing the screen. You're going to receive those questions um, now in the group chat, and you're going to have around 20-15 minutes to research in your groups your case studies.
If you could please also share the countries that will be in each group. Oh,
Yay!
okay. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, thank you.
Um,
I'll send it to the Rebright the Side channel for Rebright the Side
mhm,
participants as well.
good. Okay, we're going to have more workout rooms. You're going to be assigned there randomly, so welcome. Mm, mhm, mhm. See that all of you have some problems with joining. Are you able to?
And guys, please join the breakout rooms.
Bogdan, Francis, Joanna, Yaroslav, uh, Hasina, Abhishek. Are you able to? If you have some problem, like just let me know.
I didn't got any request to join the breakout rooms. Can you send me a
Okay,
request again?
yeah, sure. Um, 1 second, I'll resend it twice. So don't go to the. You would need to go to room 3, but I'll move you to 2 times. You to go to room. Yeah. Are you? Yeah. Okay. Bogdan and Hasina.
Yeah, you bring me back to this room for some reason. You was
Oh,
inviting me to the second, and then
yeah.
I come back for some reason. I don't really
Okay,
know
I'll
why.
move you to. Wait. It will be twice again. One, room 2. Are you able to join? Mm-hmm. Okay, good.
I don't know. For some reason, it's always bring me back.
Okay, I'll try to put you in other room and we will see how it will go. And Hasina, Farangis.
Yeah, I tried joining the other room, but I got
Uh-huh.
sent back to this one.
Okay, I'll send you again the request twice. Don't go to the first one. Go to one more time, room 2.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, Sophia. And Hasina, are you able to talk? Hey guys, are you able to know which group you're? Okay. So you're talking about uh Finnish system because you're group one. Okay, good. And also choose who is going to present in your group. Good. Okay. Hey guys, are you able to know which case study are you researching?
Yeah, hello. So we are okay, there are more people over here. Okay, so we can divide it in another way. So previously we divided it, so I've got two questions were for Anna and one question was for Joanna. But as I see there are more people, I've sent Veronica has sent the material, like send the questions and the groups. I'll send it here once again, and we'll divide the questions in another way. So we need to do a small research for ourselves for the group number. We're in group number 2, so we need to do a small
Yeah,
research
you're
about
correct.
what Bolsa Escola, Bolsa Familia, and Brasilis, and conditional transfer payments. And then we have to answer the questions which I've just sent. So this way, if everyone is with us, so we can divide it in another way. So that like if Anna and Joanna have already started working.
Especially between.
Sorry for
Okay.
interrupting you. Are you knowledgeable which case study are you doing? Do you need any help?
Can you repeat, please?
Do you need any help? Do you know which case study do you have?
Well, yeah, I I guess we don't know a lot about Tajik inclusive education. So could you maybe
Yeah, you can
please a bit?
research. Like the point
Okay.
is, yeah, to go to Google to
Ah,
Perplexity. Like Perplexity is really good to research because it's an AI that gives you also sources, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can check. Good,
yeah. I
amazing,
have
amazing.
perplexity,
Good.
so I will be explaining it.
okay.
Hey guys,
So,
is it going well?
hello. Yeah,
Okay,
we are currently discussing.
okay, amazing. You're going to do for Wonder.
Yeah, we're talking about Rwanda.
Yeah, okay, amazing. Thank you for and see you in 10 minutes.
So, why was the change needed? It was basically needed to not only rebuild their educational system itself, but also, I guess, to promote their national unity. I don't know, to promote their national unity and
Guys, um,
Sorry, I was disconnected. Can you please
which room?
add me again to the group 3?
3.
Group
Okay,
3. It was,
let's
yeah,
go.
Tajikistan education.
Welcome back. I hope everyone finished or one part or another. So we're going to be able to share and to know a little bit more about everything that we were studying about. Good. Okay, so I think that I think everyone was supposed to be back. So whoever wants to present first, please put up your hand and like I guess let's start from the group that is ready the most.
Okay, we can start from the group number 2, I guess.
Mhm.
So the case it happened in Brazil. So there was sort of it was social program created in the 90s for to reduce poverty and decrease school attendance. And the problems that Brazil faced were the high levels of poverty, child labor, low school attendance, and poor access to healthcare. So we they the change was needed in order to break the cycle of intergenerational poverty, to improve public health outcomes, etc. And it was created under President Fernando Henrique Cardoso, and it unified several programs into Bolsa Familia. It was implemented in different ways. So firstly, the families who received payments and their children, but their children had to go to school, they had to be vaccinated, etc., etc. And this way, extreme poverty not disappeared, but it is decreased quite a lot, and this money have helped many people as well. The educational level has increased, the healthcare has increased, etc. So I guess the next questions were from Anna, so Anna can continue as well. Oh, I forgot, Anna can't talk today, so Anna, if you can, please just send text you have prepared during the work. And Joanna can either say it or text, I guess.
Yeah, let me read what Anna has sent. Measure the progress and the impact of Bolsa Familia officials track specific conditional indicators. School attendance requiring a minimum of 85% for children, grade progression, and verbal statistics to ensure long-term educational gains. On the health side, they monitored mandatory vaccination records for children under 7, the frequency of parental visits for pregnant women, and nutrition growth markers like weight and height. Economically, success was measured by using the Gini coefficient. The Gini coefficient is a statistical tool used to measure income inequality within a country to track the reduction in national income inequality and the headcount poverty ratio to see how many families moved above the official poverty line. And the last thing, they used Cadastro Unico database to ensure the funds were accurately re- re- reaching the poorest 20% of the population rather than wealthy households. Joanne also is adding for the last question number 5, the money families received was not always enough, and sometimes people who needed help did not get it because of system mistakes. Also, going to school more often did not always mean students learned more because the quality of school was different. The quality of school was different. The program also depend on the country's economic politics, which could affect how long they continue, as noted by the World Bank. Thank you so much. Also, it's such an important thing about like quality, quantity of education, because as you know, we measure development of our countries super differently. And one of the indicators, which is really widespread, is Human Development Index. It's really known for being multidimensional. So they're looking at different factors and they're evaluating how people are developed are in different countries. And one of the factors is like the education, and they're measuring the fact that amount of years spent in education, like both lower, higher, like whatever, and here, like, it's a question also of quality of it. Like, does it mean that I have like 3 years of education, you have five, means that I have worse education than you do? But yeah, here we have like challenges also, systems and our measurements. Good, thank you. Um, Now I'm inviting the next group, either one or three or four. Yeah, Elizabeth, go.
Okay, we're group number 4. Okay, wait, let me find my answers. Okay, so in the 90s in Rwanda, there was a genocide, and after the genocide, many schools were destroyed, lots of teachers were killed, they had a really high poverty rate, which led to a collapse in the education system. One of the things that one of the reasons that they needed to change the education system was to improve it, to improve the country's development, and to unite tribes and build a system for everyone, to make it more accessible for everyone. The government and international organizations like UNICEF were the ones who kind of helped try to advocate for the reforms. And one of the things that they did were make the education free. They started teacher training initiatives, made a shift from French to English because Rwanda used to be a French colony. And they made this really fun initiative. They invested in one laptop per child. Uh, One of the things that they did to kind of see that there was growth, there was like these things were actually working, they looked at the literacy rate, looked at the number of trained teachers, and looked at the national exam performance. Also, one of the things that really improved was the gender gap in the education. It significantly decreased. The access to primary education became nearly universal. More schools got built, and Rwanda actually became one of the fastest improving educational systems in Africa. However, despite the programs, some problems still remained. Some of those problems being the quality of education, shortage or qualified teachers, silent language switch, which created learning difficulties, and overcrowded classrooms.
Thank you so much for presenting the case study. Here we also covered the question of teachers and teachers training, which is one of the key problems of reforming educational systems, as we see, because teachers not only need usually to be trained, but also motivated, which requires both changing the society, societal expectations, reputation of the teaching career, and training factual knowledge, which not always is there. Also, this is a challenge for rural communities in a lot of cases, yeah, that qualified people are not coming there, and this results also huge inequality in this sense. So, thank you for presenting, Rhonda, case study, and I'm waiting for group one or group three to enter.
Hello, I will be presenting for group 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Abhishek and our topic was the Rajasthan national concept of inclusive education. So the main objective of this scheme was to improve the education at the code level. So main goal was for to build schools for preschool to high schools where kids with special needs or from tough spots gets equal shots, no barrier, just support like teacher training and custom trainings. So main objective of this scheme was to build schools where student of both the types with disabilities as well as normal school students can come in same class and can learn together. So some of the main problems faced were the problems like if we will be providing education for the special student, then we also need special teachers with special qualifications, mainly in the field of providing education to the special people with special needs. So they set up new education training hubs where they will be teaching teachers how to deal with people with disabilities so that they know how to deal with them and provide them education with a different treatment. And to implement this, they started building new schools, high schools, preschools from the level nursery to all to provide students with education. It mixes mainstream classes, home schooling, and special checks to fit each kind of students. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you for presenting. And next group.
Could you ask more members from the group 3 to add some points?
Sure. Group 3, if anyone is also able to add something.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for pointing on that. There is just one issue that I wanted to mention, like for the challenges. Of course, they have had a lot of development, but the main challenge, like for example, for the developing countries, like my own homeland, Afghanistan, is that like after the projects and after donor budget closure, the programs or that initiatives will not be sustainable or will not have that long-term impact. Like it is not community-driven. So after the project closure, it will be closed and it will be not like more used, or there will be no updates on that, or there will be no more development. So there is a need for another fund, another round of fund. So one thing that I think that can help for this is that we make some, like for example, volunteer groups or community-driven groups, or a teachers group that are working on this, like with passion, not just like with the budget, but after the project closure or after like with no funds of the donor, there should be something sustainable on the ground happening so that we can see that tangible change every single day.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, actually, like people who are working with Finland, like maybe you was also discovering this story. Um, Good. Whoever wants to speak up from the first group.
Our group was tasked on Finnish educational decentralization, and uh, for the problems that existed, we have found that Finland's education system underwent major changes from the late 20th century in response to societal and economic transformation. And in the post war era, Finland shifted from a largely agrarian society to an industrialized one, creating a need for more skilled workforce and broader educational access. And this demanded changes in governance and curriculum to meet evolving social and economic needs. Now, why was change needed? Change was needed because policy reform was motivated by the goal of strengthening equity, quality, and relevance in education, and decentralization was viewed as a means to better tailor learning to local contexts, empower schools and teachers, and support continuous improvement, particularly after Finland began to gain global recognition for its educational outcomes in the early 2000s. Now, The decentralization change emerged from long-term Finnish education policy evolution led by national authorities together with municipalities and education professionals. And the process involved collaboration between ministries, the Finnish um, National Agency for Education, municipalities, and practitioners rather than a single individual or NGO. So local actors played a strong role in adapting national frameworks into practice. And in this change, policies and reforms were implemented, and there were also funding mechanisms and implementation. So, like while central government provides overall funding, the system relies on municipal administration of schools, including allocation of resources and management of local curricula. So decentralization also means shared responsibility for quality assurance and assessment implemented locally from national guidelines and evaluation agencies, as we have. This was mentioned by FI and EEC. And the indicators of success, evidence of progress have been gauged in several ways, like international comparisons, such as um, OECD's Program for International Student Assessment scores, where Finland historically ranked highly relative to other countries. Also, local assessment practices, equity measures, and curriculum implementation reviews. Now, mm, for for successes, there are improvements and positive outcomes, such as Finland gained a reputation as one of the top performing systems globally, particularly during the early 2000s, often attributed to high levels of teacher professionalism, among others. And of course, there are also challenges like um, resource constraints at local levels. It can strain implementation, for example, insufficient funding for developing digital learning environments or equity plans. And what did not work as expected and why? Perhaps, digital transformation have faced uneven uptake, partly due to limited models for integrating technology with with goals and professional capacity among schools. Now, I think to better summarize our answers for this activity, I will just paste the answer of one of my group mates in the chat box. Or if my group mate would like to explain their answer, they could perhaps unmute themselves.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you for writing also about Finland, and we can see that a lot of their successes were measured by PISA, by like literacy measurements, the world ones. And again, by being leaders, their education system was really promoted. But in recent years, because of lack of funding, because of less stability, it's declining. So also, it's a story which is like we need to be really careful of whom we are giving as an example for other countries. Like we actually need to think about it a lot. Thank you guys for presenting your case studies. And let's talk about the role of NGOs because a lot of you are connected to civil society or one way or another. A lot of organizations are connected to education. And here we can see really big duality of results and really big duality between intentions and actual results. There is a really global network. Many of you who were researching this topic, I guess, were saying like, teach for blah blah blah, teach for Ukraine or teach for like, Romania, whatever. They are a part of this network, and the philosophy behind is that we're taking people who are going to be teachers for 2 years or more, in an underdeveloped school, in underprivileged community, and they're selected by their leadership to change it from inside, to be those passionate people. And a lot of them are like reporting like positive things, and it's creating opportunities for a lot of people, um, addressing this issue about basically lack of skilled people. But from the other hand, we can see that sometimes NGOs are creating dependency on themselves. It's really really the stereotypical example of Haiti, where 80% of education is run by NGOs, and here the role of the government is really questioned. Yeah, that like narratives are now not put by the government, not controlled by the government. Um, Following the earthquake, there was a really hard earthquake in Haiti in 2010, and a lot of NGOs came there, and they created this system where they were helping in emergency but created a dependency, and now government even does not know how to change this dynamics. Yeah, so we need to be really careful, yeah, where NGOs are complementing the governmental work and where they're replacing. Also, a lot of you were asking, like, what can we actually do? And I have a slide on which we're going to work together. I have several ideas, yeah, that first of all, we can acknowledge our own privilege, our own experiences, and educate about inequality. Then, like really debatable, but in a lot of cases, working method are quotas. Yeah, quotas can actually be sometimes even harmful because like there's a blame for the quota. Yeah, that you're going to be seen as a thing that you're not deserving. But at the end of the day, in a lot of cases, statistically, it's working to increase equality. Um, we can work on tackling the issue of being an educator, to study, to be motivated, to not to come to this job just because you couldn't have other job, which is some people do. Uh, in terms of like gender or disabled students, it's really important to advocate for those issues in your local university, schools, daycares, where you're going. Um, and really also important tool that could be implemented and somewhere is implemented are peer tutoring systems, because I purely believe that peer education is going to grow with the years, because each of us don't know everything, and it's okay, and our peers know something better than we in one sphere and know worse than us in other. And this transfer of knowledge is actually helping to break those barriers that are created by systems or by lack of funding or by any other issues that are harder to tackle, particularly. But also, I'm going to ask you to write in the group chat, like the Zoom chat, what are your thoughts about the topic and maybe which ideas do you have? And then we can add them to the slide. Don't be scared. I'm not going to eat you guys. I'm not biting, like whatever, especially through camera. Like I can give you one more idea with story time a little bit. Because it's in terms of societal expectations. I was living some period of life in Latvia, and what surprised me in the city where I arrived is actually societal expectation towards people, because most of the people were expected to get this like practical job, and in my surrounding Ukraine, where I was coming from, it was like something practical is shameful. And it became like some cultural shock that like you actually can consider some like practical job as your dream, as you go, actually plan to go to like technical education, whatever. And I feel this is also a key for equality, to break those stereotypes that like to succeed in life you need to gain some education or not the other, because it blocks understanding that, yeah, if I didn't receive this, I'm not good, I'm not deserving, and it goes also into generations. So I think also what is important is to work on what you're transferring to others and your own expectations from the life. This is something more abstract, but I guess it's worth mentioning in terms of social. Okay. Okay, good. We can deal education by telling others different programs or projects. Good. We should okay. To remove inequality in education, we should provide some privilege to the background classes so they can come to the same level with others. If we want to promote girl education, we should provide special privileges for them, like security in their hostels or more hostels for them with high security. My idea is we need to destroy the governments. In my opinion, can teachers unconsciously influence students' career choices based on it? Yeah, but also the question is that teachers are also raised in certain societies, and also they're transferring what unintentional was transferred to them, which is kind of problematic, but we can break this in individual level and hopefully systematic. Integrate problem solving methods in school care. Okay. From opposite methods. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to add your ideas to the slide. And when I'm going to send them, we are going to have some additional ideas from your peers. Again, peer learning. See, I'm implementing something that I mentioned. Not only talking, working. Cool. Okay. Before we're going to end this session, because this was my last and the point of information, I would like to ask you which questions do you have, maybe thoughts that you were like coming with, or like with which you are going out of this room.
There is a
So,
question over there from Sophia in the group chat.
which one? Can you read?
In your opinion, can teachers unconsciously influence students' career choices based on gender?
Yeah, we were talking about the fact,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
that
okay, sorry.
yes, they can do it unconsciously, but we need to tackle it systematically also. Unfortunately, like individual level is good, but also sometimes it's not enough. That we can start from individual level. Um, okay.
So, in case I see there are no questions left, maybe, probably, So I guess we can send a Google form to you all. Please fill it out, especially those who take part in Rewrite the Site program, because this form makes you. This form is used for to see your attendance of the lectures and to hear. And it's important for us to hear feedback from you and based on this feedback, we're implementing some changes throughout the program and for Rewrite the Site in general. So please fill out this Google form, and as you have filled it out, you can leave the meeting. And I will turn on some background music so that you don't feel embarrassed while filling it out.
I'm sorry, I've just opened the link which you sent in the chat, and it's
Oh,
not that link, I guess.
I'm so sorry.
Don't
Yes,
worry.
I just saw 1 second. I'll change it. Oh my God, I need to remember where it is. Um.
I have the link, I guess.
Oh,
Where
could
is
you please
it?
send it? I'd be really grateful.
Oh,
Sorry.
good. Um, hmm, okay. Mm, mm.
Uh, yeah. Yeah, Pauline asked, will be the cultural evening? Yes, it will. So the next 3 lectures that we're going to have, they will be with cultural evenings. So this time we decided not to do it as it is a public lecture, and it will be next 3 times. And I'll turn on some background music, and as you filled out the Google form, you can leave the meeting. I hope you enjoyed it, and in case of anything, you can always text us on email, or you can either subscribe. You can also subscribe to Bright the Side page or the Triangle of Skills, or both of them, which would be the best one. And I hope you liked it.
For attending, and especially for those who wrote, who speak up, and all those things.